Hi, I'm Lindsay, and today we're going to make the Romance in the Rain earrings. They are created with an ombre cluster of Swarovski crystal bicone beads and a raindrop fancy stone, along with a glue-in bezel. These are long romantic earrings that are perfect for a night out or a wedding, either for the bride or the bridesmaids. Okay, let's take a look at the products I used. Okay, for this project, we'll need 4 of the following Swarovski crystal bicones. 3mm blush rose, 4mm blush rose, 3mm vintage rose and 4mm vintage rose, 3 and 4mm silk, 3 and 4mm light silk, and then 3 and 4mm crystal golden shadow. I've also got 2 of the 30mm crystal golden shadow Swarovski crystal raindrop fancy stones. And then 2 of the glue-in settings that pair with the fancy stone here. I've also got 1 pair of the 9mm gold-filled ear wires by Tiara Cast, 40 gold-filled 26-gauge head pins, about 2 inches of the 2mm cable chain, 2 3.5mm jump rings. I've got some E6000 glue, a toothpick to apply the glue, and for my tools, I've got round nose pliers, chain nose pliers, and wire cutters. You can find all of the links to these items in the description below. I'm going to walk you through how to make one earring. You'll want to repeat this for the second one in the pair. First, you want to glue the stone into the bezel setting so that while we're constructing the earring, it can be drying. For that, I'm going to use the E6000 glue and a little toothpick. I also like to have a little scrap piece of paper to be able to rest my toothpick or glue on so it doesn't get on my work surface. So go ahead and open up your glue. And I'm just going to take a small amount. As you can see, it's not that much here. You can see how much that is. I'm going to go ahead and take my bezel, place the glue in, and then I want to spread it all around in a nice, even, thin coat. Like I said, it doesn't take too much, so all I do is kind of just move the glue around. I can always add some if I need to, but it's harder to take away. And we want a thin layer so that when we press the stone in, it doesn't glop up over the sides. So I'm going to get just a little bit more glue. Go ahead and keep moving that around all the way around. You can see it's a pretty thin layer and all the way up into that point as well. Okay, and then it's just as easy as taking your stone and just setting it right in, giving it a little squeeze. And you can see there's no glue that came out over the edges, which is nice. It's a nice clean line. Now the E6000 will take a good 24 hours to do a good hard cure, but we will be able to work with this right away. I'm going to let this rest while I build the rest of the earring. Then you're going to want to repeat for the second one. Let me show you that one more time. I'm going to go ahead and take some glue. I'm just holding the bezel. Put the glue in and then just start moving it around. Nice thin coat in there. All the way up into the point and around the edges. There we go. And then again, take the stone and just set it right in there. Give it a little squeeze. And that's set. As you can see, I can move it around. It doesn't come out. I do want to just let it rest, not play with it too much. And then I'm going to start constructing the rest of the earring while this sets. Okay, to make the cluster, we need to first create the wire-wrapped pendants with 4 of each of the colors of the bicone beads. First, you'll start by taking one head pin, we'll add one bead to it, and the head of the head pin will prevent the bead from falling off, which is nice. And then what we want to do is make a loop above the top that we're going to wrap to the chain in a little bit. So to start that, I'm going to go ahead and take my chain nose pliers, grab right up above the bead using just the tips of the pliers, and then I'm going to go ahead and bend my wire. And that gives me a little bit of spacing right there above the bead. You can see that. And that little spacing is where the wrap is going to go. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take my round nose pliers to create a loop. Now, I want to create a pretty small loop, a delicate loop, so I'm going to use my pliers a little bit towards the tips of the pliers. And then I'm going to just roll, so forming the wire around the plier, and then pull my tail around. And there I've got a nice loop. Let me show you that one more time here. Take my head pin, put my bead on, chain nose pliers, using the very tip because I don't need that much space for the wraps. I'm going to grab just above the bead, bend my wire to a right angle, then use my round nose pliers, create a loop, forming the wire to the plier. You can see I've got a nice centered loop there. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this for all of my bicones using all 40 head pins and 40 bicones. And I'll be right back. Okay, it's time to start building my cluster. And to start, I actually want to attach my pendant to my chain. To do that, I'm going to use my jump ring and my chain nose pliers. So on my jump ring, you can see that there's an opening right there at the top. I'm going to use my chain nose pliers. If you need to, you can grab another pair, grab at the other side, and then just rotate it open. Okay. Then take my chain and go ahead and link to the very first piece link of chain. And then also add one of the pendants. These pendants have rested for a bit, so they will be just fine to work with. And then go ahead and close the jump ring the same way, wiggling it back and forth till it's closed. Okay, to build this cluster, I'm going to work from the pendant up to the ear wire. I'm going to be adding a pendant or a bicone pendant on each link of chain. So you can see that each link has a right and a left side. I'm going to add one pendant to each side of the links. So my first one will be the golden shadow in a 4mm, and we're going to put one on this link on both sides. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the pendant that we made with the loop. Go ahead and slip it in that link of chain. Pull the chain all the way through into the loop that you created earlier. Then I'm just going to hold this loop on the head pin with my chain nose pliers. You can see all of this is still dangling down here. And then I'm going to go ahead and wrap this wire around this wire, the space that we left there, and all the way down to the bead. It should be about 2.5 to 3 wraps when done. So you can see I can just pull it around and around nice and tight around that neck of the wire. And then I'm going to cut off the excess wire here with my wire cutters. Nice and close. I'll repeat for the other side of the chain link. You can see that one's on the right. And I will go ahead and repeat on the left-hand side. So again, putting the wire right through the link. Slide it through. So the chain link is in the loop. Again, use my chain nose pliers to hold the loop here. And then just wrap my wire around the neck of the head pin down to the bead. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that excess wire again. Now you can see I angle up my pliers so I don't cut that loop on accident, using just the tips of my cutters. All right, so the first link of chain is complete with the 4mm golden shadow bicones. I'm going to repeat for the next link with the 3mm golden shadows. So it's going to go 4mm and then 3mm in the same color. Linking it in. Hold the loop. Wrap. And cut. Repeat on the other side of the chain. Hold the loop. Wrap. And cut the excess wire. And you can see, let me get it all settled for you, that we've got the 4mm bicones on the first link, the 3mm bicones on the next link. Then on the next link up, I'm going to go ahead and do the light silk 4mm bicone, then the 3mm light silk. And I'm going to repeat all the way up the ombre. All right, let me do that for you. Okay, there you have the ombre cluster on top of the raindrop fancy stone set in the bezel. You can see I've done all of the crystal colors, and it makes a beautiful ombre. So we did 3mm and 4mm of each of the colors on alternating chain links. Then to finish, we're going to go ahead and add our ear wire. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, I've got my earring completed. My cluster is done, and then it's attached with the pendant hanging at the bottom. To finish it off, I need to attach my ear wire. So I'm going to attach the ear wire to the link directly above the last link that we added pendants to, the open one right there. So first of all, I'm going to take my ear wire and my chain nose pliers. I'm going to grab just on this side of the loop and go ahead and rotate it towards me. So you can see that it's slightly open. Then I want to hold on. Here's a little tip that I like, is to keep the chain long. I don't cut until I've linked it into my ear wire. That way I have something to hold on to, because this tiny chain can get a little bit cumbersome. So I'm going to go ahead and put my ear wire right through that last link there. And I want to make sure before I close it that it's facing the right direction, that it's going to hang correctly with the crystal out. So I always just hold it up, make sure it's oriented correctly. And it is. So then I will go ahead and take my chain nose pliers again and just rotate that loop back down. You can see it's nice and closed on that last loop there. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut my chain now that I know that it's all finished. And there you have the Romance in the Rain earrings. You'll want to repeat for the second earring all the steps. And you have a beautiful pair of earrings that you can wear out or to a wedding or whatever you want. You can find this project and many more at fusionbeads.com.